Hey, Rico here. So let's talk about some pop culture news from Taiwan. Aaron Yan is an actor, singer. He did have his own fashion line. I remember him just being all over the place because he mostly was in a mega popular group from the early to late 2000s, and their name was Fahrenheit. So he still has a pretty legitimate career. He's still acting. I mostly know him for his music. I still keep up with a lot of his releases, but I don't really check too much for what he's doing as far as being on the small screen or the big screen. I do know that he was in a whole lot of dramas, and I have friends that like really liked him like back decades or so ago. But the last time I've heard Aaron Yan's name really in the media, and we're talking like worldwide across the board, it was when he was forced to come out. So I remember that happening, and it was just this picture of him and this guy kissing. The guy he was kissing, his face was sort of blurred out. And it was a hot topic, and he was forced to come out and say that, yeah, you know, I'm gay, I'm a gay man. And I honestly really could have cared less. I mean, I never got that vibe from him. I never really cared to know who he was sleeping with. I used to love Fahrenheit's music. I love his music still. His new single is good. I still like him as a musical artist. Now fast forward, I look and there is another case that has come to the forefront, and it's ongoing. And now there is this influencer. He's a TikToker. He has an Instagram. I probably won't say his actual name just because I feel like that this case deals with someone who is a victim. And I don't feel like that it should be something that's exploited or talked about for other people's entertainment in a way. But yeah, you can look it up yourself. He came out, he made an Instagram post, and he was talking about how he had relations with Yan, and he met him when he was 16 years old. He was living alone in Taiwan, in the big city, and he somehow became friends with him on the internet. They met up, and it was kind of like, oh, I'm starstruck because, you know, this is a big pop idol who's very well known. And so he says that Yan used that to exploit him, and they would meet up and, you know, have sexual relations. And he was saying that there was one instance where Yan forced himself on him, and it was recorded, and he was saying that Yan likes to record his sexual encounters, and this caused a whole big thing because one of the videos did leak online, and it caused this young man to have to change his name, have to go into hiding, but also face all of the comments and the backlash. And so he's saying that I didn't give consent to Yan recording me, and I didn't give consent to the sex that we also had. So this caused a whole big thing because this is on the dawn of the Me Too movement in Taiwan, and many people jumped on this story. So he was set to have a press conference, and he's talking about his story, and many people are engrossed in what he's saying, and then here comes Aaron Yan.
耀乐指控涉嫌偷拍不雅影片，炎亚纶曾在耀乐记者会现场向耀乐2度鞠躬道歉，虽然坚称没有违反意愿，不过士林地检署随即针对炎亚纶涉案部分，
在这边不方便说，因为毕竟这是侦查过程。
炎亚纶被网红耀乐
comes in, people are like, oh my goodness, this has never happened before. He is a gangster. Comes in, you know, he apologizes. He says, you know, I was trying to meet you in person. You know, please accept my apology. This young man was shocked. Everybody was shocked. I do believe it was a lot. You know, because Yan had shown that he was trying to reach out to him, you know, to say, well, you know, I knew that the video was out there, obviously. I knew that I had videos, and it was a ticking time bomb. I knew that this was going to come out. It's a ticking time bomb, you and him having multiple tapes of you all having sex together, or is the ticking time bomb him being underage? Because in the midst of all of this young man at the time was only 16 years old. Aaron Yan was 31. Aaron Yan now was 37 years old. So that's like the big highlight of this whole thing, was that he was underage. And he was saying that one of the videos got out through a friend. She went to get her phone repaired and the video got out. He was saying as well that he had taken his phone to get repaired, and obviously someone went through the phone and found all of this stuff, and you know, it ends up on the internet. How do you not have that password protected, deleted, put into the cloud, saved on your computer? You know, it seems a little bit too easy to me that this was so simple to get out, and it did ruin this boy's life. But there's also one side of the story, then another side of the story. It's where Aaron Yan is saying that the encounter he's talking about was consensual. He said at the press conference as well in front of him that it was consensual. We had a relationship. I did not force myself on you. He admitted to the relationship. And then it seemed like he was admitting to, you know, well, yeah, we did have sex. We did have sexual encounters. But I did not know that you were recording me. So, you know, it's like, which one is really the truth, and what is in between the two truths? Because it's like, so you all were in a relationship, this comes out, this young man talks about how Aaron Yan was cheating on him. And I'm so confused with this, because, you know, the pictures that came out of him kissing this guy, was this the same influencer? Was this somebody else? Aaron Yan admitted to having multiple lovers. And, you know, he's taking most of the blame for a lot of the stuff. The only thing that he's really saying was like, you know, I didn't know that our sexual encounter was being recorded and it was consensual. Even with that being said, Aaron, he was underage. I mean, that's one of the big things that people can get him on with this case, is that this guy at the time was underage. And you should have known better. It's this case that we always have where celebrities think that they're above reproach, that they think that they are above punishment, so they just run out and do whatever they want to do. You know, he's coming out with this whole story and he's like, I was a bad person. I know I was a bad person. And I'm all for people having character development and self-discovery, and I'm all for giving people grace. But I do feel like him coming to his press conference and not allowing him to tell his story was a little narcissistic. I do feel like that he could have waited, because the press conference, once Aaron Yan stepped foot in that press conference room, it became about Aaron Yan. It no longer became about him telling his story. So I did kind of scratch my head. I did kind of look and I was like, okay. And it seems like with each move this young man makes, Aaron Yan is right behind him or trying to match him. It's like a chess game where, you know, they're just kind of, you're here, I'm right here, you're here, I'm right here. Like he's really trying to match him. So he's cooperating with authorities. They're searching his apartment, his phone, his computer. They're trying to find what they can, because they're saying that this still involved a minor, in which at the time in the video he was a minor. He was not an adult. So he did go down to the police station. They did take him in and he was let out on bail, which I think is hilarious and kind of a waste of time. this man has more than enough money to make that bail. You know, it's like, okay. So, you know, the cameras catch him. He's coming out, the prosecutor's office. What is the truth? You know, I'm just curious about what is the truth. I mean, it's good that he's taking all of the blame and he's coming forward and he's saying he did it. Then you're looking at this young man, because I do look at both sides of things, and was it consensual? Because you got to think too, he knew he was underage. I'm sure he knew that Aaron Yan was way older than him. Aaron Yan been out since what, early 2000s, and he's meeting him for what purpose? Like, was it just like, oh, this is a star, like I can be in a relationship with him, he can help me out, I'm a student, I'm living alone? Like, most people in human nature, when we do stuff, we think like, what is in it for us, as, you know, the person that's being involved. So I do think about that as well. I do believe that he also had hurt feelings because Yan was cheating on him. He was running around with multiple men. And I do believe this young man felt, you know, well, since you feel like I wasn't good enough for you, me and my youthfulness, I'm going to let everybody know, like, the full story. And obviously Yan knew it was coming. He had to, because the way he's reacting to the situation, even calling the situation a ticking time bomb, he knew that all of this was going to come out. I do feel like for this young man that it was right for him to tell his story, because there is content online of him being in this encounter with Yan, and many people in Taiwan have seen it, and I do feel like that he has a right to feel upset about that. However, he also talks about how he knew that Yan likes to record his encounters. So knowing that, why would you engage in sexual intercourse with him, no matter if he's an idol or not? And obviously there was other people in the room or a camera or something. He said in his account that he looked and someone had pulled out their phone and they were recording. So this is a lot. You know, it's a lot. It really is. It's a lot. Like I said, the age gap. This young man's age is the one thing that I think that they definitely could get Aaron Yan on, because he was underage. It is very murky with the details of what actually happened though, because there is one story then the other story. The stories are kind of colliding with each other, and then in the account it's feeling like that this young man is saying one thing, then Aaron Yan comes and he admits to like, oh yeah, well we were this, we were doing this, and you know, it was this. So it's like, where is the actual truth? So lastly, Aaron Yan's personality, I'm gonna be honest, has been rubbing me the wrong way. Since he had left Fahrenheit and he had really started like focusing on his solo activities, I remember when he came out, he was saying that him and Fahrenheit did not get along, and you know, when they're separated, they don't call each other, they have a lot of fights, and you know, they're really not friends in real life. And he's spilling all of this to the media and the public, and none of these other boys have said anything. And I'm just like, Aaron, was this necessary? Did anybody need to know this? Like, I'm guessing he's really not in the group anymore. They've never said if Fahrenheit actually broke up or not. I always liked Jiro Wang. more so than any of the other members. I love how he's out just living his best life, you know, with his toys, stuffed animals, Gundam figures. His mother's getting on him about getting married, and he's really just at peace. Hasn't said anything. But it is like, Aaron's personality has rubbed me the wrong way whenever he's spoken in the media, and I'm just like, why are you talking about this? Why is this something that you should be focused on? Focus on your own activities and your music. I do believe that he wasn't really a good person in the past, and I do truly hope that he has had, you know, development in his character and has changed, and I hope that this whole situation and scandal makes him take a hard look at himself. Because, like I keep saying, this is a lot. So you guys, this is a lot to think about. Follow my social media, mostly my Instagram. Also for blog Nice Asian Pop Culture, the link is always down in the description box below. And remember, be real, stay real, live in the real, and I will always be back. Thank you guys for watching. Put below how you feel about this whole thing. Go research it for yourself. What have you found out about this whole case? I would love for y'all to sound off below, and I would love to read your comments.